Am I the a-hole for telling my kinda daughter-in-law she isn't giving birth to Jesus, and if she doesn't clean then she can get out of my home? My son and his girlfriend have been dating since college. They graduated last year and are 22 and 23. They used to have an apartment together, but soon found out she was pregnant. I was not happy when they informed me. I knew they could not afford it, but they wanted to keep the baby. They also are doing a shotgun wedding soon. Soon after they asked to move into my home. It is a large home with plenty of space. They wanted to save money for the baby. I made it clear they will need to do chores and buy their own food. They agreed and are so messy. I have talked to both of them before, and they keep telling me they will do better. My son has been traveling for a job, and it became clear that she is the one being a mess. In short, she is slob. She leaves dishes out constantly. Her stuff is all over the house. Her bathroom is so gross. I have talked to him over and over again. I have talked to my son, and he has talked to her. She is 8 months pregnant, and her excuse is she cannot clean. Well, she hasn't been cleaning since she moved in 6 months ago. I came home with groceries and tripped over her shoes. I had enough. I told her that she isn't giving birth to Jesus, and if she doesn't clean then she can get out of my house. She started to cry, and my son is pissed at me. I reminded him that I am doing them a huge favor and doubled down on cleaning.
I'm going to reluctantly say not the a-hole because technically you're in the right, but really you should have dealt with this months ago. After she has the baby, she's not going to get to a full night's sleep for months, and she sounds like she's at high risk for PPD, which not sure what your living situation is, but if I was in your shoes I'd divide the house up and put one of them or myself in an apartment and then just start charging them rent if they're so messy it's damaging your property. Ignore the people that are going to tell you to kick them out. Don't do that to your grandson.
If she doesn't start cleaning now, then she will not with a baby. I cannot live with that. If she doesn't shape up, she is getting out. They had 6 months to save up money. This is literally her last chance. I don't care how close she is. My son can find the apartment for them to move into.
Start charging rent, use it to hire a cleaning service.
If I have to start charging rent to get a cleaning service, I will just tell them to get their own place. I am not going to play the game of trying to get money from them.
Not the a-hole. There are women out there who are, or were, ready to pop, taking care of a house and toddler on their own while working. I personally know a few. You are doing them a favor. It's not your job anymore to take care of them, and definitely not your job to take care of their baby. While it is nice to have a grandparent that's involved, that doesn't mean a grandparent that is playing maid, chef, landlord, part-time parent to adults and baby. You gave them the conditions on which you'd house them. They are no longer following them. If you want to completely cover your butt, because I don't know what kind of people your daughter-in-law and son are, start doing things in writing. They have until X to clean up and continue to maintain their part of the house to a minimum standard, or else they can no longer live in your home. This is assuming they could actually claim certain legal, tenant rights in your location. However, if they decide to name their baby Jesus, I would have to laugh.
This is only going to get worse. Soon you will be tripping over dirty diapers and rotting formula bottles and trying to get rid of cockroaches and rodents. Living with your daughter-in-law will make you resentful of your grandkid. Throwing her out will make your son resent you and also interfere with you having a healthy relationship with your grandkid. Not the a-hole. She either cleans up after herself in your home, or she can hope someone will clean up after her in the nearest shelter. Best write the eviction notice now. If your address is legally her address, it'll be hard to throw her out.
Info: if she were giving birth to Jesus, would you actually feel any different about her cleanliness habits?
No.
Based.
Am I the a-hole for telling my dad it isn't the thought that counts? I'm fully prepared to be called the a-hole. My dad has this habit of offering to get you something and then bringing back something else, or a different version of the same thing. He won't call and ask you what else you want if the item isn't there. He will just assume you will be fine with whatever he gets. A few weeks ago we went out shopping for groceries as my mom was away. She had put her favorite dip on the shopping list and wrote down exactly what brand it was. Dad couldn't seem to find the dip and so decided to grab a random green dip and hope for the best. When I pointed out that the dip Mom wanted was on the shelf above, he grabbed it and seemed shocked that he didn't see it. Things like this are a regular occurrence, and we kinda expect to get something different whenever he offers to get us something. He never reads the containers or bottles and just grabs stuff at random most of the time. Last night Dad called me and asked me if I wanted anything from the liquor store as he was grabbing some wine. I said, "Can you please get me brand and raspberry please?" He brings home the pineapple flavor and only realizes it's wrong when I point it out. Oh, and he also got annoyed when I didn't want to drink it as I dislike pineapple. He tells me it's the thought that counts even if he fucked up. That's when I told him that it isn't the thought that counts when you repeatedly get the wrong thing. This started a mini argument where I had to explain to him that he needs to actually take the time and make sure he gets the right thing and call us if he can't get it. I seem to have hurt his feelings, and he told me I was being ungrateful and rude. YLL, my dad offers to buy me things I'd mentioned in the post, but people seem to be skipping that part.
Not the a-hole. So he has a habit of offering to help. Side note, is it called help when your mother does the grocery shopping, and then being totally disinterested in actually getting what the person wants, and somehow thinking he still did a good thing, he was still of help? Fuck no, man. If I ask for a head of lettuce, and he brings back a cabbage, he's not helping. If I ask for soy milk, and he comes back with dairy milk, he's not helping. If I ask for plain cornflakes, and he comes back with the ones loaded in sugar, he's not helping. If I need chopped tomatoes, but comes back with a bottle of ketchup, he's not helping. If I need panty liners, and he comes back with maxi pads, he's not helping. It's the thought that counts is, as far as I know, only applied within the context of gift giving, some kind of gesture like a thank you something. Especially if it's something small or someone is tight on cash, then getting a cheap but thoughtful gift can be lovely, as it's the thought that counts. If a friend gives me a birthday card with a photo of us on a memorable outing, then it's truly the thought that counts. Also, your dad isn't actually thinking, so he's not giving out any thoughts. Your dad is just lazy and wants to pretend he's doing his bit when it comes to family shopping, but he's not actually doing it. How did he get away with this for so long? It's like he's totally incapable of using his eyeballs. Is he having cognitive or memory issues, like dementia or something? Stop taking him up on any offer. Him, hi, at the supermarket, do you need anything? You, no, I'm good. And then hang up. Plan your own shopping trip or split the effort with a reliable person in your household. Don't offer to get your dad shit when you go to the supermarket, though, not even if he grabs you before you leave the house. I am going by myself because I can't trust that you buy me what I want when you offer to get my stuff, even when I give you all the details required for the item, so I'm doing my own shopping right now.
If someone gets you something completely unwelcome and then plays the "it's the thought that counts" card, the proper question is, so what were you thinking? Just like when someone makes a mean or offensive comment then says, "It was just a joke," I want to ask, who was the joke for? Who was supposed to laugh? Not that this is guaranteed to work against this type of person, but sometimes at least it embarrasses them enough to shut them up for a while.
Exactly this. It is the thought that counts. However, your father is completely thoughtless. Not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole. It's the thought that counts, and he exhibits lack of thought. I got you something, just shut up.
He's either very indifferent to detail or just not terribly concerned about what other people ask for. Someone in the comments asks if you are sure he is literate, which merits reflection as well. Choosing a dip because it was green could be a sign of illiteracy. That said, most people know, for example, that you can ask for the raspberry booze and not just take whatever you see on the shelf. Not the a-hole, but avoid giving him tasks like this to do, even if he asks. It must be frustrating for him as well that he can't get things right. LOL, if he asks, say, "No, I'll get my own dip booze."
Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to stop whining about her son's graduation speech? I, 33 female, have a sister, Jane, 40 female. Jane and her husband have 7 kids, 17 male, 15 male, 14 female, 12 female, 11 male, 8 female and 5 male. Her 11-year-old son, Braxton, is graduating from elementary school later this month. Braxton is the school president, and thus will be giving a speech at graduation. Jane read Braxton's graduation speech last night while we were at our mom's house for dinner, and it ended up in a massive argument. 5 years ago, my husband, 33 male, and I hosted an exchange student, Justin,
15 male at the time, now 20 male, who is from the Philippines. Justin loves basketball, and when we found this out, we were excited for Braxton, who was 6 at the time, because he had started to play basketball, but no one else in the family was really interested. This quickly evolved into my husband and I driving Justin and Braxton to either the gym or a local sports center every day to play. I would normally supervise as I wasn't working and had no kids at the time. By the end of the year, Justin and Braxton grew close, and after Justin left, they would still talk on the phone, my husband and I would help them speak to each other. Justin started college this year after taking a gap year due to COVID. He's an international student at a college around 45 minutes away. He lived on campus this year but will be moving into Jane's house, and more specifically, Braxton's room, very soon. Braxton and Justin have spent a lot of time together since he got back to the States. I will drive up to the university with Braxton and they will hang out. Braxton spends more time with Justin than his siblings or parents. Jane and her husband have to divide attention to 7 kids. In Braxton's graduation speech, the first person he thanks, and the one with the most written about them, is Justin. He speaks about how Justin is his role model and like a bigger brother, and how he's helped him with basketball. Jane got upset when reading this. She asked Braxton why he would put Justin over his own blood. He explained that he wants to be like Justin when he grow up. Justin recently started teaching him Tagalog. He said he admires how smarter Justin was for knowing different languages and spoken about all what he admires in Justin. Jane suggested he rewrite it and include family first, but he said Justin was family to him. She argued some more before stepping out of the kitchen. I went in the living room after a bit to check on her. We're really close and normally she opens up to me. She started to whine about how she does so much for him and how he only likes Justin because he's a cool kid. I brought up how I drive him places and she whined about how she has 7 kids. She continued to whine about his speech and I told her to stop whining and act like an adult. She got angry at me and started to argue and hasn't spoken to me since last night, where she seemed angry at me. She won't pick up my calls. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole first, elementary school graduation. Okay, then it's perfectly normal for a child that age to idolize older siblings, longs family friends over family members. Your nephew was so lucky to have this remarkable kid in his life. Your sister need to let it go. Again, it's elementary school graduation. We are lucky if Spider-Man doesn't get mentioned.
Excuse me, Peter Parker was a studious and generous young man. He deserves to be mentioned in a graduation speech.
Sounds like in a family of 7 kids, he found someone who paid attention to him.
Absolutely agree. That, plus at that age, kids easily idolize older teens they look up to. Braxton sounds like a smart boy, and OP's sister is probably defensive because she fears she's not doing enough, despite the constant hard work.
Wait, what? A 20-year-old is moving into the 11-year-old's bedroom. How is that just glossed over? That should not be happening.
Not the a-hole. Braxton wants to make a speech about who inspires him and made an impact on his life. That will not always be the parent or even anyone from family. You are just trying to make your sister realize her immaturity.
Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to do her chores? I, 24 male, have been married to my wife Amelia, 26 female, for 4 years. Yes, I know we married fairly young. I work a consultant-type job which requires me to have periods roughly a month where I work 70 hours a week. We don't have kids, and my wife does not have a job. Currently, I'm in one of these periods, typing this on my lunch. Me and my wife usually do a 70-40 split in terms of housework, but in weeks like this I do next to none, because 10 hours a day, no weekends. Of mostly standing moving about means that when I get home I usually collapse on the couch and then do some prep for tomorrow. Recently my wife hasn't been doing even 50% of the chores, which is fine for a bit. We all have our ups and downs and I've never had an issue with a messy house. I've been microwaving some frozen stuff not eating for dinner. My wife recently brought up to me that she was feeling overwhelmed with all the mess in the house and asked me to help out. I'm not in the house for 12-ish hours including commute and lunch break, so I don't really care how the house looks. I told her if she wanted the house to be clean she could just do her chores. She went tight-lipped and told me she'd let that go because I was under a lot of stress. I went to sleep soon after and got up 6 and left for work at 7:30 before she woke up. I got a text a few hours ago that she was disappointed in how I'd reacted to her expressing her needs. I get that she's stressed, I do. But I'm doing my job. Is it so unfair to expect her to do hers? Edit, answering a few questions. As a consultant, I get leased to different businesses for anywhere from a few days to a month. My schedule can vary from getting a month with only a few days of non-stop work and the rest off. I'm talking I do not have time to come and go from my house. I have to get a hotel room as close as possible, or a steady few weeks of a normal schedule to this. 2. Pay. Numbers vary, but in general money is not an issue. Yes, I do pay for everything. 3. 70-40 was a mistake. It's somewhere between 60 to 70, 30 to 40. 4. No, I do not care about the mess, and I only have one thing, which is do not leave wine glasses out. If you're gonna invite friends over to the house when I'm not there, don't leave alcohol, drugs, vapes out. I hate intoxicating substances. My wife does drink, unlike me, so we have a designated cupboard for the alcohol, keep it in there. 5. No, I am not Mother Got Hell. My wife is not locked up in our house, she can go where she wants. 6. Currently I'm doing 10 hours minimum a day, no weekends, 2 hours commute, 2 hours prep. My wife does not make breakfast, pack a lunch, I leave before she wakes up. 7. I do not run around the house making messes in random rooms. I think this was a joke. I stick to my study, which is messy, but she doesn't go in there anyway, the guest room and the kitchen. I don't want to disturb her with my hours, so I go in the guest room for these kinds of times.
Not the a-hole. When one partner is working and the other is not, it's fair that the unemployed partner take care of a supermajority of household upkeep. I'm assuming that your wife is not going to school or starting a business, because you would have mentioned it. This begs the question of what exactly your wife is doing for 10-12 plus hours a day while you're working. Not everyone is cut out to be a homemaker. It sounds like your wife would be happier doing something productive with her time if staying home doing fuck all has her stressed. If you can't sort this out by talking, marriage counseling is probably in order.
Me and my wife usually do a 70-40 split in terms of housework. That's giving it 110%.
Typical consultant.
There is a simple solution. If she doesn't want to do housework, then suggest she gets a full-time job and you can use some of the extra money to pay someone else to do it. Not only does she get to not clean, but someone else who needs a job gets employment. Win-win-win for 3 people.
Lives for free and still feels too stressed to clean after 2 people.
And one person is only really home to sleep. Such a stressful life she has.
And asked me to help out. Ask her when she's going to help pay the bills.
I know your answer is a little tongue-in-cheek, but this might provide the answer to the problem. If she's bored and or lonely, getting a part-time job would help. She'd have something to occupy her mind, also depending on the job, other people to talk to, and she could use her pay to hire a cleaning service. Oh, not the a-hole.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.